And welcome everybody to another beautiful Thursday night here across the globe as we get ready for the lore games. Andrew's gone. Andrew left. He was literally here 30 seconds ago. Look at that.
I honestly thought I could go pee in 30 seconds, and I guess I misshot it. Sorry.
No pun intended. He said he misshot it. Anyway.
Time.
Welcome. Oh my God. It's literally been 1 minute and we're already there. Welcome to the lore games, everybody. My favorite day of the week. It is time for us to work as a group, as a community, to invent and create the 30,000 foot view of the adult fantasy universe. This is the major big milestones across the entire universe. This is the end game and the Infinity Gauntlet saga and Civil War. These are the big blockbuster movie bullet points that all of the rest of the universe will eventually unfold into. So with that said, this is a spoiler show. We are literally inventing the spoilers. So if you want to be surprised, this is probably not the show for you. Other than that, we would love to have you here. Chat helps to make the thing happen. Everybody gets to jump in. And we invent the story together. And so let's see who we have on deck here. And then we'll say hi to chat. First, this way. The most terrifying carrot hot dog I've ever seen. The one, the only Dusty Sky. What's up, Dusty? How you doing? Cool. Yep. He's muted. That's great. You gotta turn them. You gotta turn your mic on.
Hello.
Hi.
See, I come into this prepared, and Todd always mutes everybody before we start the show, and then I forget to turn it off. So thank you, Todd. Thank you.
That's right. We got chat and carrots. We got some good comments. I'm going to put those up in just a minute. Well, welcome, Dusty. So lovely to see you again. And to my, what is this? Is a stage left? I have the incredible Ramel Davis. Ramel is a master storyteller, incredible illustrator. The guy's done you guys have seen his work. He's freaking phenomenal. We may have to get him to do some pages. I don't know, maybe a cover or two. We'll see.
Yeah,
go, buddy.
I've been meaning to reach out to you guys because I've been spending a lot more time in my den, just drawing, sketching, just doing for the past couple lore games. While we've been discussing, I've been simultaneously doing sketches and stuff like that. So yeah, because of you guys, I'm more involved in my craft.
Let's do it, man. I love it, dude. I love it. Yeah, man. Anyone that hasn't seen Ramel, like all the deep Ramel stuff. And in fact, Ramel, I showed a couple of your works. I think earlier this week, like on one of our chill streams.
Really?
Yeah. People were looking. Do you remember that voltage painted cover that spread?
I do.
Yeah, the painted one. Yeah, I showed that, and I have somewhere like a bunch of photocopies of your stuff that I just like cherish. So it's awesome. I love it. Well, welcome, brother. How you doing? Your weekend good?
Speaking of which, I still have those pages of voltage within my reach. If you give me like 8 seconds, I could reach them right now and pull out that folder.
Oh hell, that's awesome! I love it.
It's just certain things I never throw away.
No, man, you can't throw that stuff away. That the artwork is freaking incredible, man.
As bad as I want to, I don't throw it away.
I know. I can't look at my old work either. It's just not healthy. You can't throw it away, but you don't want to ever look at it again.
No, the reason why, and I'll be brief. The reason why I don't throw it away is because I look at it like this is the worst version of this drawing I'll ever do. So yes. At some point, I'll look at it like, no, you're better than that.
Yeah.
So it's a mental thing for me.
That's smart. I like that. I like that. Better than Avery, where he just chucks all his work into a fire.
Oh, God.
Welcome, man. I'm good to see you as always. In this corner, we have the one, the only, the mighty Andrew Charper. What's up, Andrew? How you doing? Andrew, before he opens his mouth, because he won't shut up. Andrew is a phenomenal illustrator. He's a phenomenal artist. He's a graphic novelist. His latest book is Hero. He's working on volume 3. He's also proprietor of Misfit Corner Comics in Jacksonville, Florida. Okay. Hi, Andrew. How you doing?
Hi. You know, what's so funny is you talk to Dusty, you talk to Romel, and I'm sitting here making mental notes of all the comments that I should have made while you were talking, but I didn't. I saved it till you got to me. But when Romel was talking about his art, how he can't leave it behind, how he can't throw it away, all I kept thinking is insert friends for the word art. He can't get rid of us. He can't throw us away. He can't, that's why he's still here with us.
It is true. Yeah.
That's
We've pretty much been glued to each other's ass for 30 years.
When you mentioned drawing, I convinced you, or I talked to you, or I didn't convince you. I mean, I don't even think I gave you the idea, but you do a comic stream now on Fridays.
Yep.
And I'm trying to convince you to do a movie and TV stream because we talk a lot of movies and TV here, and it's usually very fun and entertaining. Yep. You should also do a draw stream where we get together and just do a drawing.
We should. We can do this. We can be down with this. Romel, by the way, we're due Fridays too.
Why am I just not hearing about this?
Because nobody likes you.
No,
hey, you know what? Eat a dick.
No. So this was.
It only started last Friday.
So how
you knew about my streams. What are you talking about?
So how Andrew has a stream that he does every Friday?
Yeah, I was told to never cross the streams.
Stop it! You're going to confuse Flint, even though he's not here. You're going to confuse him because he's not going to get the reference.
That's true. So
you know how to slip in a reference because every week my name changes.
Yes, I see that.
Anyway,
Romel and I can do this show just by
Fridays. You show up to Friday nights. We do a comic stream. Basically, what we did is Andrew has his stream. Andrew's been doing a comic stream for how many years now? 6, 7?
I don't know.
How long have you been doing it?
A while, but it always changes. It changes.
Anyway, we just started porting it over to this channel, to Adult Fantasy. So Friday night, we do a comic stream. It's pretty much Andrew's stream. We let him go wild. It's Andrew Gone Wild. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, but I meant to apologize to you.
Yeah, thank you for the visual.
For anybody who joined into the stream last Friday, I was not very articulate and I didn't contribute very much because I had pulled some muscles a day or two before, and I was in excruciating pain through the entire thing. And actually, Avery joined me on my Scam Channel live stream the next night, Saturday night, and I was feeling a lot better, and I apologized to him during that stream, but I never got a chance to apologize to you. But
nobody cares. All right. Look below here we go. No, I'm glad you're feeling better, dude.
Yes, let's please move on to Avery because I'm getting tongue-tied.
It was a good break from you, Drew. It was a good break.
It was a good break from you.
There were several minutes of the stream in which I'm leaning back like this, going like this, because I was just in so much fucking pain I couldn't handle it.
I know. This is like the middle-aged man show. Like Ramel has a Charlie horse in the middle of the stream. The next week, Andrew's
keeling over in pain. Yes.
Yes.
Gotta remember to take my stool softener so I can be okay for tomorrow.
No, I don't want to even. Anyway, welcome as always, Andrew. And in this corner, right directly below me, right here in the center square, is the one, the only Avery Butterworth, Studio 7.62. You know Avery's work from Heavy Metal Magazine, Image Comics, White Wolf Publishing. He's also the artist on the Origin comic, and you've already seen his work on the Ashcan edition. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm all right. What's up?
You sound, yeah, okay, I can make it.
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm just tired.
Right on, man. I understand. It's look, I actually had to take a nap. I picked up the kids, and Thursday is my long day. So, as Dusty knows, I call him from we call it the children's airport. It's a gymnasium, and it always impresses Dusty how loud it is.
I'm sure it's just screeching little people
with bullhorns. Yeah, imagine screeching kids, loud music, and like other women yelling into a micro, like a bullhorn. It's pretty.
Sounds fun.
Pretty peaceful. Dusty should talk to it, because I call him because I have headphones in, right?
Yeah.
But he gets the microphone, so he gets it like all loud. It's really funny.
Yeah, today I came to realize that Todd gets me on a call because he has to sit there and suffer, and he doesn't want to suffer
He doesn't want to suffer alone.
Yes. So he just gives me a call and he doesn't talk, and we have to listen to it.
That's true. That's true. I think we had I think our entire conversation was like, "Hey man, how you doing? What's up? That's cool. No, I'm just chilling."
It's awful here. It's
like
awful here. I want it to
screaming
be
background.
awful for you too.
Well, Avery, welcome, man. Always a pleasure to have you on. And last but certainly not least, in this corner, we have the one, the only Zachary Arbella. Zach has written 13 novels in the in the fantasy space, and he's writing the adult fantasy novel. The first novel of which came right out of this show. So season 1 of adult fantasy lore games became the book that is becoming the book that Zach is writing right now. How you doing, Zach?
Cool. I'm good. Trying to think of a snappy comeback, but unfortunately, the cup of coffee I drank a couple hours ago is wearing off, and the caffeine crash is about to hit. So I'm about to go inject some meth so I can stay awake. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. No. It's going to be a proprietary blend of Red Bull, rum, and Nodos. So if I don't die of a heart attack,
I now understand. Like last time we were talking earlier, I think in the green room, and Zach said he was about 30,000 words into the book, and now I understand that the way he's able to do that is because he's busy cooking up bass.
Yeah, well, it is Florida and it is Daytona Beach, so
this is true.
It's as I've always said, Daytona Beach is where Florida man goes to unwind. So fun note. This actually happened. I was walking along my street today, and I nearly stepped on a syringe.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I'm sure it was safe. I'm sure it was
fucking junkies.
Yeah.
Pardon my. Of course, if anyone here is an actual drug addict, please note that comment refers only to drug abusers with my own particular locality, and there are no demeaning term, no demeaning. Fuck it.
I love how Zach is such a nice guy that he's apologizing to the crackheads that are watching a lore game stream.
Yeah, my apologies to all the crackheads.
Well,
if
I said what was really in my heart about the subject, I have a feeling that would have to ban me for his own self-preservation. So
yeah, fair enough.
And let's get to it.
Fair enough. Before we jump in, just want to say hi to chat. Rageous, what's up? Welcome, sir. Willie D, what's up? More lore, por favor. Ooh, more lore, por favor. I love that. That's awesome. MK, what's up, sir? GM, what's up? KG, what's up? Hola, mi amigos. And of course, Karis is jumping in. Hey, a bunch of filthy animals. And then Karis says, sitting in an airport and ready to fly home. Can I get a job as a full-time lore whore so I can quit this job? Oh man, we got lore whores and more lore, por favor, man. We're gonna have to write this down. We got KG says, never miss an opportunity to hear the ingenious lore rantings of Drew. Man, do not give that guy a bigger fat head. Oh my lord.
Bigger. Does it get bigger?
Like, people have got to learn not to compliment Drew. He will make you regret it.
Hey, wait, Avery. Let them learn at their own pace.
Yeah,
okay?
let them learn the hard way. Okay, folks, you asked for this.
So Dusty's like, oh, he's already ranting. MK, Drew, we aim to please. You aim to please.
That was in reference to my trip to the bathroom.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, and the carrots. Man, we got the puns out tonight. Forgive them, for they know not what they drew.
I like that one. That's a good one. That's a good one. God, the accuracy in that quote.
Yeah, that's true. Oh man, and then Carrot says 2 people being glued to each other's asses sounds uncomfortable. Yeah, try 4 people. Anyway, welcome to the Lore Games. Let's jump in.
Yeah, we've got our own version of the human centipede here, but it's voluntary.
That's disturbing.
Well, move me up to the top because I don't want to be at the bottom. Please.
You're in the middle, Andrew.
Yeah, well, I'll move you to the top because you got video. People with video get preference.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Sorry, Dusty.
Oh dear.
So that means I get to be the reproductive organ of a male.
So, can I bring up a suggestion real quick?
No.
Yeah.
It's kind of a seed as we go through tonight's story development. I have been watching for the very first time 2. I don't know if they were critically acclaimed shows or they were notorious shows on HBO, but I've started watching The Wire for the first time.
Yes.
And Oz. I've never seen either of those 2 shows before. I'm about 6 episodes into the first season of The Wire. It's fantastic. I'm loving it.
It gets better.
I'm only 2 episodes into Oz. But one of the things about Oz, being that it's a prison movie and we're talking about a prison story, one of the things I really, really enjoy about it is that there's a narrator. It's the guy in the wheelchair is kind of narrating the stories to you, and he's introducing the main characters as the stories go on. You get to see flashbacks of what they did in order to go into prison and so forth. I really think we should have a narrator for this story that can introduce all the characters and their backstories as it goes through. And my suggestion, if you guys were willing to do that, is to make the narrator the psychiatrist, which would only add to more of a twist at the end of this story when you find out she's the big bad that's been orchestrating the whole thing from the very beginning, in the fact that she's going through and introducing all the characters and their backstories in narration as we meet them throughout the story. And just a seed of thought that I wanted to throw out, an idea to throw out there, because as I was watching the show, which, like I said, I've never seen it before, I've only heard about it, I'm fascinated by all the different characters' backstories and stories as the series unfolds. And I think that would be a wonderful reference in our story that we're doing here.
So 2 things on that. First, MK says Oz was awesome, but it gets fucked up real fast. Yeah,
you think that's fucked up? You ought to see the final episode.
Well, I just started. I'm only on episode 2. I just watched episode 2 right before we started the stream, and that's where the idea came from. So
that's actually really smart, man. Because I had actually thought of.
What else did you expect? You're talking to me.
I'd actually thought of this shit. I know. See, this is what you get. I had actually thought of Oz a little bit because we're writing this thing, this book or novel or graphic novel, comic, whatever, taking place in a prison, right? And we need to have like that whole fun and game section is his adjustment to prison life, and like so it's going to be, I think something like Oz is going to be great reference for us to be like all the intricacies of what can happen in prison life, because they do all their research, like there are, it's a lifestyle, right? So there's like certain things that we can actually pull out of that to show, like, to make it feel like a real environment that this guy is living through, you know?
So real quick, Andrew, I gotta ask.
Sure.
In watching Oz, who are the standout characters so far to you?
Well, the thing that I think is hilarious is how many of these young actors you're seeing, and you know them from other things. Like, what's his name? The guy from Whiplash.
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons. He's a real horrible individual in this show, and I'm only 2 episodes in.
Oh my God, you have no idea.
And he's really young too, and much younger than he is, nowadays. The same thing like with The Wire. It's got what's his name? The guy that plays Creed in the Creed movies, as like
Michael B. Jordan.
Like a
Michael
little
B.
kid.
Jordan.
He's like a little kid in it. And I'm like, is that who I think it is? And it was. And I'm like, holy crap. It just makes me, it dates how old these shows really are.
God, I'm trying my hardest not to spoil anything for you.
You don't, because I'm enjoying the hell out of them, okay?
Oh God, yes.
MK says he likes the psych idea. I think that's great as well.
Yep.
And then he says, by the way, Drew, the number of stars that came out of Oz, you'd be blown away.
Oh yeah, you got the Geico commercial guy that was also in Rescue Me. You got there's just there's a ton of them that are being introduced. And
talking about O'Reilly. I can't think of the actor's name.
I'm blown away at how many of what's her name? The chick who ends up being Tony Soprano's wife is one of the prison guards, and I'm pretty sure Oz was before Sopranos.
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So it's like, wow,
God, was it really that long ago? Jeez.
I mean, they're referring to people getting incarcerated in like 96 and 97. So I'm assuming it's at this point, 25 years old.
Jeez.
So,
no, Oz was airing since I think the first season, I want to say, was in 97, because the girl I was dating, she was watching it, and I was watching it with her, and I'll never forget this line. This one guy walks into a cell with another guy. He says, "You have 5 minutes to get your hands off my dick."
What's the rest of that?
So 1997.
Okay.
So imagine me. I'm like, what the fuck did he just say?
Yeah, that'll draw you into the show. Like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah. Anyway,
I just wanted to throw another thing out there just to make some of my buddies in this stream feel old. Guess who turned 29 years old today?
Your son.
My son. Oh. And a lot of you were around when he was born. You were there, so yes.
I remember picking your son up by his feet. I can't do that shit nowadays.
Do you remember coming over to my house and doing this and having one kid hanging from one arm and one kid hanging from the other arm and lifting them up and down like this? They used to love it when Uncle Romel would come over and they got to hang from his arms as he like lifted them up into the air.
Oh no, Drew. Remember when I was reading your kids that bedtime story?
Which one?
No, the one I was making up.
Oh, yeah. You remember?
I don't even know.
Romel, Romel, do you remember going to see the sneak preview free screening of the Chinese movie Iron Monkey?
Yes.
Do you remember? We're sitting in the theater. It's you, me, Gerald, and Mike. And we brought Mike, and he was a kid. And I had Mike sitting on my knee, and we're watching the movies. And of course, the movie's in Japanese, and it's got subtitles. So during the whole movie, I'm literally reading the movie to Michael, who's sitting in my lap, right? And at one point, one of the characters says either slut or bitch or something like that. And I'm reading the dialogue, and it gets to that point, and I go, very bad woman. And Romel literally falls out of his chair laughing because he's listening to me narrate the movie to Michael.
Well, it had to be with the girl with the scarred face.
Yeah,
it had to be that scene.
somebody said "you bitch," and I went, "You really bad woman," and Romel just fell out of his chair.
Here's what I'll say about Mike, and then we'll hop in.
Okay.
But here's what I'll say about Mike is that your son is a visual for me, is besides being a wonderful person, and I love him to death, that he is a visual representation of the time since I've been out of high school.
Oh yeah,
because he was born like right after high school.
Yep.
MK is like, yeah, we'll get on it. MK is like, is this a record for getting sidetracked? Dude, you probably. All right, let's jump in. Let's look at this. KG, they're like, what the hell are these guys talking about? All right.
Yeah.
Hey, yo. So Andrew, give us a quick recap. All
right, really quick. 30,000 view look. Our main character, Nathan Ranger, is a detective in the New York Police Department. He's just made his very first big case, busted a supervillain who was doing some type of crime. We haven't established all the details yet, and caught him and sent him back into prison. Gets a whole bunch of accolades for it, and he becomes noticed by a group that we haven't really defined just yet, that approaches him and offers him a deal. What has happened recently is his father was working for this group undercover inside a prison, trying to root out some evil that had been taking place, and he was murdered. And they're giving him Nathan, the opportunity to go into the jail undercover and to root out the murder of his father, as well as whatever other criminal misgivings were being done. Lo and behold, Nathan is completely taken by surprise under the fact that he's not just going in there undercover to solve a crime. He's being set up thoroughly. His life is being destroyed. His spotless reputation on the outside is getting completely annihilated. And in order to survive, he needs to learn. Oh, I forgot to mention that he's in a superhuman prison, and he wasn't aware of that at the very beginning. There's a lot of twists, a lot of turns, a lot of characters that we're going to introduce. And as we go through the story, we're going to find out some real nefarious things going on in the world. And all I have to say in regards to the prison is 2 words: prison wallet. Let's jump into the story.
That was actually a pretty good intro, man.
The rest of it is details. The rest of it's all details. You guys know that.
That's true. Okay, so let me pop open this really quick. All right.
By the way, the wife and mother-in-law are out of town. I'm home by myself with 3 cats and a dog, and I've got so much energy. I actually took a nap today.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. This one document is so big it does not want to open for me. It starts to crash. Hold on.
Hey, while you're playing with that, Andrew, I really like the idea about the psychiatrist narrating the entire book. But let me put this out there. What do you think about this? What if, like, each chapter starts out like a session? Like session such and such and such, he's talking about this and that, and like say like when psychiatrists do sessions, they like kind of record them, and they all their tapes read basically like, this is such and such and such in session, and I'm with so and so and so, and this is transpired, and he's going through this, and I feel blah blah blah, and the third. Know what I'm talking about?
I think so. I think that's a really good way of balancing the idea that everybody has a dual personality. Everybody has 2 sides to them, and the way they're portrayed and the way they actually are always completely different, usually opposites of each other. And if we actually fill in gaps in between each person's stories with like the psychiatrist breaking them down or asking them questions, and then we see them doing things the exact opposite way or being any different, we're kind of like given a visual into what they're really like and what they portray to be,
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much room, because I think there's a few characters that we've already established, Cobalt Fox being probably the most important one in my mind, on what they're really like and what their motivations are and what they are in prison in this situation, where it's not always exactly as it appears,
Mm-hmm. MK says like patient number 2332. Patient is.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to get too Tom King about it, you know. He has a tendency to do that with some of his books, and you know.
Fair enough.
But
Okay,
I think it.
So go for it.
I think it can be a tool that we can use. That's all I'm saying.
For sure. So just to recap where we were when we left off, we just kind of glossed through the midpoint and we're into bad guys close in. Midpoint was off to see the Oracle. Cobalt takes Nate to see a family member, points out that his life is ruined, his wife who is leaving him. Victory now means reclaiming his life and clearing his name. Uncovering his father's killer is secondary, because that's kind of like what the midpoint does, is like it's about really dialing in like what he thought his mission is not now what his mission is. He has a bigger mission now. If he wants to get justice, he'll have to do it himself. Ghosts of times past, maybe the same as above, because it's something that comes back to haunt him, or like, you know, basically up until now the hero has in some ways been trying to be two different people, his old unsuper self and his new superhero self. They've kind of coexisted, but now basically this midpoint forces him to move into the superhero self. So the ghost of times past could be his wife. We might be able to pull that off. Maybe the super bad guy that he arrested at the beginning comes back, gets out on a technicality. Maybe it's something else, but I think it's one of those. It's somewhere in there. And then then the third part of the midpoint is the nemesis revealed. So we looked at black bag operations, specialties. The psychiatrist comes in here. She's vetting people for overseer, manipulation trials, strengths, weaknesses. Present the warden as the main bad guy. Warden realizes Nate's plan. Warden learns that Nate is human. So all of a sudden, like the warden has the upper hand. Bloodsport style. Maybe there's like a Bloodsport style of bad guy levels. You have this Captain America superhero character that comes to the prison to fight. And in fact, we added, like, by putting him in there, we actually added him at the beginning. Like, he actually takes credit for Nate's win. So the cops are like, yeah, Nate, you fucking did it. Like, we know it was you, but the public thinks it was like Captain America or
no, it was Richard Baggs.
That's right, Richard Baggs. We got yes, Richard Baggs. Cap kills a villain in the ring. Prison, like maybe he actually kills Prison Wallet, and then we had like a 15-minute discussion about all the stuff that could fall out of Prison Wallet, like hitting a pinata with a semi-truck. Hey, those are my cigarettes. Like maybe there's a cat, a book, War and Peace.
Maybe a miniature replica of the Millennium Falcon.
That's right. A Blockbuster VHS case, a Legos, a pearl necklace, a Batarang. Then we also had Richard Baggs, put him in here. Nate's collar gets turned off, maybe. Like, anyway, these are the kind of things that were kind of going on. And now we are in the break into 2B. So we are now moving to the past 6 o'clock. We're going into like 6:01. And I will read this, but Andrew had his finger up. So
I just thought of something. What if in the fights they turn off their collars to release their superpowers in order to do the fights? What if Nathan knows that his collar's been turned off, even though it has no effect on him because he's normal? What if he unlodges the collar during the fight with the Captain America character and puts it and gets it on him to suppress his powers, and is able to beat him after doing that? I don't know. It could be a twist, because I know we talked about him beating the Captain America character, but we didn't know how he did it or how he was.
It also doesn't have to be at this point, right?
Well, I'm just saying, in a pit fight with him and Captain America, that's just a way I think he could win.
Say that one more time. How does he win?
Because the collar that suppresses the powers is turned off. Maybe maybe Cobalt Fox gave him like a like not a thumbtack. What is the metal thing? The paperclip. gives him like a paperclip, and while he's in the battle with Captain America, who's like, you know, having fun at his expense, taking his time, beating the crap out of him, he's able to jury rig it and gets the collar off, and he's able to get the collar on Captain America, and maybe Cobalt Fox is able to flip the switch back on to suppress his powers, and that's how Nathan ends up beating the Captain America character, because he becomes human, because they turn off his powers.
What if, and we can figure this out later, but what if we have not actually defined what this Cobalt Fox's powers are? What if he has sort of like a reverse rogue power where he can actually transfer power to somebody else? And so you could have at the climax of this Captain America battle, you could actually do what you say. Like you could have it so that basically the Captain America character gets a brace around his neck and like depowers, and then Cobalt like powers up Nathan, and Nate doesn't know. Maybe we don't even explain what his power is until this point, right? But like power basically grabs Nathan, powers him up, and Nathan goes for a swing and just like blows his head off. Like I could totally see that as a double page spread where he's like just punching like a regular, like he's like trying to just knock him out, and just like blows his head off with like this crazy power. Or not.
I kind of got an idea is something similar to that. Maybe there's a character, and not Cobalt Fox particularly. Maybe there's a character who has the ability to switch people's powers around.
Mm-hmm.
And Cobalt Fox has to get to the control room in order to turn off his power, in order for him to be able to switch Captain America and give Nate Captain America's power. Maybe it's like a conspiracy, or it's a like. I think Cobalt Fox should be involved in helping, because I think at each time Nathan goes up against a bad guy, Cobalt Fox is there to give him advice on how to beat the character. But when the Captain America character shows up, he's got nothing. He's got absolutely no way of beating this guy.
Yeah, we still have to have Nate be the hero. Otherwise, it's Cobalt Fox. You know
well,
what I mean?
Nathan's the one
Nate's
that can punch him and kill him. Yeah, exactly. But Cobalt Fox has got to help him get to the point where he can do that. Cool. I think there's a story in there. I think there's somewhere. We can keep going, but
yeah. Somewhere, I agree. Somewhere in there. Before I jump into the description of what Bad Guys Close In is, Zach or Avery or Dusty, do you guys want to jump in? No pressure at all. Just given an opportunity.
I got nothing.
Cool.
I'm gonna wait a little bit longer until I hear a little bit more. The inspiration engine is Belgian oil at the moment.
That's all right. No, to be fair, Zach, you have actually been grinding out 30,000 words for the novel, so it's okay.
I think at the point that Nathan defeats the Captain America character, he becomes the target of everybody. Everybody thinks he now needs, because whoever was involved in bringing the Captain America character into the prison, whoever's running the prison, everything, he's completely flipped the script. You know, at this point, he's supposed to go into the battle arena, and he's supposed to die. He's supposed to lose to this guy. Period. Everybody knows it. And Cobalt Fox is able to help him flip the script, and he kills him, and then all of a sudden he is the target everybody must destroy. He's on everybody's
this is sort of the Dark Knight. So there's something called the Dark Knight of the Soul, and it's sort of like the all is lost moment. And we'll talk about this more, but like
this is the end of 7 when he shoots the bad guy. You know, it's over. He's done.
If Nate kills Cap, that would bring massive media.
Well, no, the Captain America character isn't publicly known to be going into this place and doing this. This is all hush hush.
True. Yeah, fair enough.
So no media is going to be involved in it. But then I realize I'm killing my own idea in the fact that he kills at the end in order to save Cobalt Fox, and he's now a killer. So this would have him be a killer way earlier than that. And
All right,
I
so I'm
like
going to
it the
read.
other
I'm
way
going to go
around.
ahead. I'm going to go ahead and read. We're going to read Break into 2B. So
All right, go
Break
ahead.
into 2B is here, and it includes the hero's mask and revelation of the plan. So if this is a movie, Break into 2B is like minute 61 to like minute, like we're moving like at the bottom of the clock at 6 o'clock. We're kind of moving towards 7 p.m. So it is stunned by the oracle's prophecy, shocked by his encounter with the ghost, still reeling from the nemesis revealed. The hero begins to seriously reconsider his decision to ever become a hero in the first place. He's not cut out for this. Despite the small, important physical victories scattered throughout the first half, Midpoint has just felt like a colossal emotional failure. How could he have ever assumed he was the right man for this job? And just when the hero thinks he's at his worst, when he is most in need of encouragement, the mentor seems to be at his harshest. Because as sharp as this is another turning point. Up until now, being the hero was kind of fun. It felt like a game. Now he realizes that it's not a game, and more people will get hurt if he doesn't step up. Now, as an example, from Iron Man, still reeling from the news of Obadiah's betrayal, Tony adjusts the flight stabilizers for his suit while brooding over the news reports of the attack on Gulmira, his dead mentor's hometown, until he finally explodes in anger and takes it out on the window walls. Right? And so inside of this, there are two places called the Hero's Mask and Revelation of the Plan. So I think the break into 2B was basically like exactly like that. This is the fallout from him breaking up with his wife, his wife leaving him, and he's like realizing that this midpoint basically is like the first time he's probably also seen like major death from Captain America blowing some prisoner's head off. Like, it's just like, oh shit, I'm waiting. Like, being in a prison full of superpowers is kind of cool and could be seen as a game if everyone's like using it to like, just like small pranks or something, right? But now he's like seen the whole thing. So we need to have a scene where he's just like, I can't do this. And then the Hero's Mask, it's also called Rally the Troops. This is the moment when the hero takes up his super identity in earnest. He must do something, in like all caps, do something. And he is spoiling for the fight. Done with the walls, Tony dons his completed, fully functional super suit and takes the fight to the Ten Rings henchmen who are using Gulmira as a base. Right? So you have that meltdown, and then you have the basically putting the mask on, Rambo putting the bandana on, loading up. And then Revelation of the Plan. Revelation of the Plan, right between the moment when the superhero dons his mask and the scene where he gets to beat up the bad guy, there's a short scene where the audience, at least, finally get to lead on what the nemesis intends to do in the second half. If the hero sees it too, it's usually by trickery. And this is from Avengers. Black Widow tricks Loki into revealing his plan to unleash the Hulk against the ship and its heroes. That's the trickery side, right? But that would be the revelation of the plan. So we have a couple different things. We've got the Dark Night of the Soul break into two, where he's like reeling and he's just like, I can't freaking do this. It felt like a game. Now he realizes it's not a game, and more people are going to get hurt if he doesn't step up. So what kind of shot, what kind of scene can we do where he just like has to like?
While you were reading that, I kept imagining exactly how this would go. You have all the incidences where Nathan is being thrown into the pit against other criminals, and he's having to defeat them one at a time based on knowledge that he's gained from Cobalt Fox. And kind of that's the fun part, even though he's getting the shit beat out of him during this, but he's still beating him. And then the climactic scene is when they send the Captain America guy in, and all is lost because nobody's going to beat this guy. And Cobalt Fox has no way of figuring out what his weakness is. But he comes up with a plan, like a last minute ditch effort, while Nathan is being tortured and tormented by this guy in this fight, because this guy's taking his time beating the crap out of Nathan. And he figures out a way, or uses one of the villains in order to switch their powers or whatever. And it allows Nathan to defeat the Captain America character, maybe not kill him, but defeat him to the point where he's taken completely off the board. And maybe that's the point when the warden, when the psychologist, when the people behind the Captain America character realize he's not just going to lay down and die. He is going to become the focus of everybody's ire. And maybe this is when the other villains react to protect Nathan. And maybe this is the incident that begins the riot that was all part of Cobalt's plan in the first place to get them out of there, was to start a riot. And maybe this is the incident that actually starts it.
That's certainly good.
Maybe,
but I think
that's
the
bad
definitely...
guys. But that's the hero's mask coming down. Him realizing this is it. He's got no other choice. He's a villain now. This is the plan being revealed, which is Cobalt's plan to break out and to start the riot. This is all those pieces there. This is literally like we're building up to the midpoint in the movie. Then the last half of the movie is nothing but a huge battle scene against the Avengers and Thanos's army, and it's an hour-long battle scene. Where in the movie it was maybe 20, 35 minutes, but that's the whole other half of the movie. This is where everything else happens. Everything else comes together and everything starts to fall apart.
Well, I think there's a few more. I definitely think there's a few more things that'll go in there, but I totally see your point. I think I feel like he needs to kind of step up. Like, again, he hasn't really accepted the fact that he's like in this prison life, or that he is this super villain, or he's basically to Andrew's point, like this isn't him actually becoming the superhero. He's actually deciding that he's going to become, in order to survive in a world full of villains, he has to become a villain. Right. And so I think for the Dark Knight of the Soul, it's like I think it's almost this, like all I can do is move forward or die.
I think at some point in the story, there's got to be a conversation between Cobalt Fox and Nathan, in which Cobalt Fox tells him, in order for you to survive in here, you're going to have to be bad. You're going to have to be a criminal. You're going to have to be a villain. And he has, up until this point, denied that and fought against that. He's not going to kill anybody. He's not going to break any of his vows. But once he realizes his life's been destroyed, his wife is gone, she's never going to see him again. Once he realizes the only way he's going to survive is to kill somebody, that's it. It's over. He's now a villain in his own mind, and now it's time to get out of there and whatever comes next.
Let's see.
I think we're not building a hero. We're building a villain here.
Rommel, that's right. So this is the birth of the villain, kind of like he finally dons the mask of the villain. So he's had everything taken away from him. He's had the second Dark Knight of the Soul, which is like, he's just like not cut out for this. He can't believe it. He has to step up if he's going to survive and solve this. So he has to take up this villain identity in earnest. He's got to do something. And he's spoiling for a fight. So my guess is that he has to, I assume, beat the shit out of somebody for the first time. Escape the cop mentality. He's got some snitch or some low level weasel character or something. But he has to basically fucking destroy him. He has to make a mark. If he doesn't beat the living shit out of somebody, he's dead, because he's in a prison of superpowered beings. He has to prove that he's a villain, and he's going to have to behave like a villain.
I think at this point, it's not a matter of he's got to survive in the prison. He needs to get out of the prison. If he's in there any longer, he's dead. They're going to kill him. he has to escape. This is it. He's got it.
But the first, I think there's two ways. I think there, I mean, even according to the story circle, there's two ways. The first thing is he has to become the villain or understand that in order to survive in the prison. Here's the thing: in order to escape, I think that third act is like, to your point, is him escaping, but he's not even towards that point because he's not going to have the chance to escape because he's going to get he's going to get murdered way before that. So the only way for him to even get to the point where he can have the time to make a plan to escape is for him to like don that mask of the low level villain at least and fucking fight. And so he's gonna have to, like, maybe there's a snitch from another gang. I kind of, in my head, for some reason, I see like some kind of like weasel like character that's kind of goes between the gangs and kind of like is a messenger or some shit, and like is like sending a message to Nate, and Nate just like crushes his fucking skull, like doesn't kill him, but basically like wrecks him. And that's the first time he's done something out of his normal character towards the villain character to like use this other human being to make a point, which is something the old Nathan would never have done, just to buy himself some time to show that he's like someone not to be fucked with. Because if he just sits there and is like a hero, he's going to get aced.
I also don't think Nathan has a plan to escape. I think it's Cobalt's plan from the very beginning, and he's been planning this for a while now. I think that's something we might
I don't think it's a problem. So. I don't think it's a problem if it's a hidden plan to escape. Like, I think that's pretty cool. But I think like in order for Cobalt, it's still the same thing. Like, in order for Cobalt's plan to activate, like, it's literally in the story where he has to put, like, Nathan has to put the mask on. And in this case, it's not a hero mask, it's a villain mask. And so he's itching for a fight and he has to do something. So who does he fight? And it's got to be something low level, because the Captain America guy comes in like a couple of minutes. Like, it's not there yet. So I think the midpoint actually is even like a nut. That's the midpoint is basically when he realizes, other things. Maybe even that happens a little bit before the midpoint in Fun and Games, where you see like a lower power superhero, or it could even be someone from AF. Like, it's a character that we've already introduced is coming in and is using that to fight. Right. And like, you see what I'm saying? Like, we gotta build it up. You don't want to just like jump Captain America in there. You want to have like, the lower level powered characters, and you want to have like Archangel versus Wolverine before you have Captain America and the Incredible Hulk, or Thor and the Incredible Hulk, or whatever.
Didn't we already establish that with all the other fights he's going to do beforehand?
Yeah, but that's not there yet. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, we haven't completely put that in yet. In your head, it's already there, but it's not actually in the script yet. Like, you're actually
okay.
Here, I'll show you what I mean.
Start typing, bitch. I'm sorry.
Oh, here. So like, so this is the circle that like what I've been reading. We're like right here in the break into two. So we're like right here. All the stuff down here, Fun and Games, is like getting used to the prison, getting into the prison, getting used to the prison. Definitely learning about the prison fight club. But this is like maybe between some characters or something. And maybe you see a superhero come in, but it's not like a main guy. And then the midpoint where everything falls apart for our hero. And now our hero realizes that villain, he realizes that he has to be the villain to kind of get in. So he starts to like fight back. Now this is like bad guys close in, all is lost, Dark Night of the Soul. That's the part where he's like fighting for his life in these pits. Because that's the crazy shit. Dark Night of the Soul is him in Captain America. So like, he's up here. This is like the big fucking fight. And then if he survives Captain America, he can go after the Warden or make his escape, right? Because Break into 3 is where you're coming back to the regular world. So that's like them coming out of the prison and then the final escape, right? Does that make sense? So we're just like right here. So what is the first thing that he could do to like he's got to put the villain mask on, and he's got to beat the shit out of somebody or take some kind of action that is not heroic. So this is open to Dusty. What's up?
Yeah, it kind of feels like to me like this entire time he's been good, and so how does he organically become bad? And it should almost be over something very trivial, right? Like he's just getting more and more frustrated, and someone says something to him in the lunch line or something, and he just kind of loses his shit and beats someone up.
Right. This is the
like
first
a build up.
That's right. So Act 1 is order law. Act 2A, the fun and games, is disorder law. So the disorder is the prison, but he's still a good guy. He's still a cop. Now we've just passed into disorder criminal, and he now is like in the prison, and he has to kind of embrace that criminal aspect. But we have to, yeah, it could be minor. It could be. He just has to do something. Like I said, it says itching for a fight, but it doesn't have to be. It can be literal, or it doesn't have to be literal. But it does have to be something that's gonna like make him. It's Spider-Man. I don't know what the Matrix version of it was, or the Spider-Man version of it is, but it's basically like, you know, I think the Iron Man one is pretty good, where it's like he literally loses his shit because he just finished his midpoint emotional collapse, and then says, "I'm going to do something." Even if it's not the right thing, and he like goes out to just straight up kill the 10 ring, those 10 ring bad guy terrorists from his old village or whatever.
So one of the paternal questions in a comic book store that's always asked, it gets asked at least once every year, at least, is in a fight between Batman and Superman, who would win? And my answer is always exactly the same: Batman, every single time. And the reason is Batman will cheat. Superman will not cheat. Batman will cheat in order to win. It doesn't make him not a hero. It makes him a better hero in that fact. Yes. I think when Nathan's thrown into these pits, he's got to find a way to survive. And maybe surviving is cheating. Maybe Cobalt helps him in order to cheat death into defeating each of these bad guys, and each one gets worse and worse and worse. Maybe the cheat steals a little bit of his soul each time, in the fact that, you know, he has to take advantage of somebody's weakness, or he has to cheat in it. I really imagine him in a fight with the Captain America guy being the last fight, where maybe Cobalt has set up a superpowered individual like underneath the pits, who's slowly draining power from the Captain America character and giving it to Nathan. So as the fight is ensuing and the Captain America character is like beating the crap out of Nathan and taking his time torturing him, he's slowly losing power, and Nathan is getting his powers. And I see a twist in the fact where one time, like, the Captain America character is ready to give him the death blow, and he goes and he slams his fist down in his face, and Nathan just like looks up at him like it has no effect on him whatsoever. And maybe he's been tormenting him the entire time, like picking on him, verbally tormenting him, telling him how his wife left him because he's a piece of crap, and, you know, he was horrible at his job, and just anything to make him really, really mad. And maybe that's when Nathan kind of just, the fury hits him, and he finally reacts and punches the guy, and like punches him through the roof. And maybe that's when the water starts flooding in from the hurricane going on outside, and the flood starts flooding into the building. And, you know, maybe that's one of the things. But I can see everything you're describing in this particular part of the story. You know, Nathan is... Romel's muted. He's got to unmute himself. I mean, I see it all happening. You know?
Mm-hmm. So, if I could jump in for a second.
No.
During these fights, are their powers nullified, or just dimmed, or just completely non-existent?
No, they let them use their powers. Oh, absolutely.
All right, that might work, but we'd have to think of a plausible way why Nathan will be able to survive this fight then.
I have a suggestion. Let me know whether you like it or whether you don't. One of the things that did you all ever establish what Cobalt Fox's power is?
Not
Nope.
yet. No.
Okay, great. Let's say Cobalt Fox, is he an older gentleman, middle-aged, young, what?
He's probably older. I would, if I had to guess, I kind of envision him. I kind of envision, based on Andrew. I liked Andrew's idea of the whole Archer and Armstrong, where this guy is like a bigger guy. I imagine Cobalt almost as basically like Bruce Wayne from Frank Miller's Dark Knight.
Okay, so an older mentor.
Yeah.
Think The Rock compared to Paul Walker in Fast and the Furious.
Okay, that's cool. So here's my suggestion. Let's say Cobalt Fox is, say, an older gentleman. He has a power that's the whole reason why he's in there. But you haven't seen it for a while for this particular reason. The same power that he uses is also shortens his lifespan. So he has to use it very sparingly. And one of the things his power allows him to do is he could say like say, I haven't figured it out, but let's say he gives Nathan, say, a stigma. He uses blood to draw a stigma on Nathan, which will allow him to kind of channel some of his power to Nathan, just a little bit, so that he will be able to survive the fights, or that he will have just a little bit extra stamina, or he wouldn't be mortally wounded as easy, something like that.
I might have a suggestion there as well, if you want to hear it.
Jump in.
All right. So, yeah, didn't mean to jump on you like that, Ramel. Yeah, so maybe what we could do is, instead of that, maybe this particular Cobalt Fox's power, and we could say that the power of Cobalt Fox, because the idea with Cobalt Fox is that he was like the Dread Pirate Roberts from the Princess Bride, which is that it's like there is no like Dread Pirate Roberts. It's basically like one guy does a job, plays the role, then hands it off to someone else so he can retire. So Cobalt Fox is kind of like that. That was the idea. But as far as his actual power goes, I'm thinking maybe he's someone kind of like Rogue from the X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah. But instead of like copying people's power, his power is that he's able to nullify other people's powers temporarily. So basically Nathan goes into the ring with our world's equivalent of the Hulk. And, basically like one punch will turn him into jelly, but Cobalt Fox is able to, through his power, gain an understanding of how that power works. And he's able to either nullify it, weaken it, cancel it, maybe just interfere with it in some way. That's his ability. It's not his ability is to, his ability is basically to see how other people's powers work, see how basically, or even better yet, this is actually a rip-off. I don't know if there was a show a few years ago from the guy who did Heroes on
yeah. So I'm gonna jump in just for a second because MK said, yeah, Cobalt. Oh yeah, Cobalt is the one transferring, and then said, no pit needed, just him pulling power from one and providing to another, a la Heroes.
That might work. Yeah.
And then he said, like he was talking about like Leech in X-Men.
What if the battle arena, what if they have some type of like sphere that turns off the power dampeners while they're in the battle arena, and maybe Cobalt Fox has set himself up underneath the arena so that he's within the sphere and he's able to channel power from one opponent to the other, and he's literally giving Nathan an edge against any of the opponents he's fighting against, including the super. And maybe it takes longer for the super powered ones, but maybe that's what's happening. Because I originally thought of having a leeching type character leeching the power from one and giving it to the other, but that's not how leeches usually work. They don't transfer it. But maybe
that's what I was saying with that
you know.
reverse rogue thing, where where Rogue, instead of taking the power, he's giving the power. But I also like the idea that it is killing him. I do think I still, when we're going to come to it, there is a part in the story where usually the mentor dies. So we may have to talk about whether old Cobalt Fox, like it would be more powerful if older Cobalt Fox gives him the power to win a battle, but then croaks, and that's why he has to fight. One of the reasons why he has to fight Captain America on his own.
Okay, right. I would agree to that if we had already established that the second chapter, which would be like a buddy movie, the two of them on the run from the police doing stuff and building up Nathan into the new Cobalt Fox, I would be fine with Cobalt Fox dying and sacrificing himself in the end of this story in order for Nathan to be free, if we can establish another character to take Cobalt Fox's place, to build him up to Cobalt Fox. And I think we've already established it. The daughter that he has to seek out, that has all the answers to, that knows everything.
I would be
about
cool
Cobalt
with that.
Fox and his legacy. She's the one that helps him.
One of my all-time favorite movies is The Professional, so I'd be totally cool with that.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I'm cool. I originally wanted Cobalt to not only survive this part of the story and to make it out with him, because I wanted to see that buddy movie, the 80s buddy movie where they're on the run from the police. I'd be willing to sacrifice that movie if we all agree that the daughter that's out there in the world that he goes to find becomes that character, becomes the buddy character with Nathan to help him. I think it makes a stronger story if Cobalt Fox gets sacrificed early, or not early, but in this story. Yeah. Okay.
If I could jump back in, what if Cobalt Fox's power was not originally his own? It was passed down from person to person, and he would be like, say,
are you saying like once he gives all of his power to Nathan, Nathan's got it forever?
Not necessarily. Basically, it's like this. The power has been there, say, from the beginning of time. It's been around so long, nobody really knows exactly where or who it came from. It's just oblivious. So let's say this person had it, and towards the twilight of their life, they pass it on to somebody else. Then they pass it on to somebody else. So now, at the time in the 70s in which it takes place, Cobalt is the holder of this particular power. So him and Nathan, whatever, they have this bond, and somehow he figures that Nathan is worthy to be the holder of this power, but he's not really 100% sure yet. But he realized that, hey, this guy doesn't have any powers, period. And I could save him by if I make him the next holder of it. But it's like, once you pass it on to somebody else, the previous user dies. You see what I'm saying? So it's like he wants to give his life to his life and his power to somebody that's worthy of carrying on this torch, quote unquote, but at the sacrifice of his own life.
You know what? I think this actually solves two problems and also adds a third connection to Blood and Metal. Maybe Cobalt Fox, this version of Cobalt Fox, is a direct descendant or a passer on of the powers from one of the original brothers. What if Cobalt Fox is like one of the original four, and now he's passed his mantle on to Nathan to become the new Cobalt Fox, and giving him his powers in his dying breath, all of it is only another example of him taking over the mantle of Cobalt Fox and the Cobalt Fox cult and so forth, syndicate, whatever it is that he was originally in charge of. And this is Nathan's way of taking it all back. Maybe it's part of his legacy that he's going to be building back up again in the next chapter. But the other, I think I just lost it. Oh. Remember how I said that Cobalt Fox is the one that kills his dad, but he was being directed, brainwashed by the psychiatrist. So the psychiatrist was ultimately responsible for it. And that my original thought was when they break out of prison together and they're going through this buddy cop, adventure in the second chapter, that Nathan still doesn't know that Cobalt was the one that actually killed his dad. And that was kind of the big twist, is the fact that the guy he's looking for, he's like buddied with and partnered with and relying on and befriending and so forth. Maybe he does find out in this first story that Cobalt was the one. And the fact that Cobalt sacrifices himself so that he can escape, he can gain his powers, he has the ability to get the hell out of there and start his life and continue and make a new life for himself, because his original life's completely gone. His life's totally destroyed at this point, at the end of the story. And Cobalt is his final, not retribution, his final decent act that he does. Yes, his atonement is he acknowledges, he tells him what happened, and he gives everything up and gives his life for him.
How would you guys feel about making this Cobalt Fox religious or something? Like if he
finds religion in prison, that's a trope.
Like if he's like born again or something, that would maybe give him a reason to do this, other than just like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like that I love this, but I feel like there has to be some reason to compel him to atone and give his life. And I mean, religion is maybe an easy one, where he's like a pacifist now, and he's like almost, maybe he's the preacher. He could be he could be the prison the prison preacher or whatever. You know what I mean?
Religious person. Right.
The parish, or I forgot what they call it. Because almost every prison has one.
Right.
Religious advisor or something.
Every prison has one.
Yeah.
If I might add, I think before we had kind of thought about Cobalt Fox's power like corroding him, and that's why he looks like he does on the card.
Yep.
So maybe it's been corroding him to the point where his clock is running out, and he's like, I've got to get rid of these powers before they corrode me to nothing.
Ooh, what would be a good twist is, remember how I originally said Nathan goes to try to turn off the machine in order to undo the programming of the whatever, and the head guard is going to try to kill Cobalt, and he kind of kills him in order to save Cobalt's life. Since in the story we're setting up, Nathan has already turned to the dark side in the fact that he killed the Captain America character. He's now a villain. Maybe it's Cobalt who sacrifices himself, kills the security guard in order for Nathan to escape. Just some slight twists on it, but that's it could all work. But I still think Nathan needs to rescue or save the life of the psychiatrist before he kicks ass out of town. Before
I kind of like that. He ends up saving the life of the person who's the big baddie.
Right.
Actually, let me toss this out. Let's say, because we haven't really defined what Cobalt Fox's power is, and really, I really kind of want us to steer clear of My Hero Academia. That's a manga and anime series, and we're kind of,
we don't know what that is, so
I'll explain it a little bit later.
Just go with
but
me.
How about this? Let's say Cobalt Fox, like from each kill, he takes a little bit of, say, like the life force of the person that he kills into himself. So it makes him stronger the more people he kills, but over time his body is unable to handle all that he's amassed. So now it's killing him. It's eating him from inside out, and he needs to pass it on to somebody, because it's killing him at a faster rate. But once he passes on, he will die gracefully.
So it's a little bit like Highlander.
I wouldn't say Highlander. Well, I mean, kind of so with the quickening, but not to that extent.
Not to that extent, but yeah.
Yeah. He takes Go ahead.
I don't think he wants to pass on his powers because whoever gets it is stuck with it, is in the same exact situation he's in. The only reason why he would do it is in order to save Nathan's life, and being thrown into the pit with these superpowered villains, he's got to help him one way or another, and this is the way he can do it.
We're going to
Yeah.
have to really, regardless, I think both of these are good. I think in order to do this, though, when we do our next pass, when we go through fun and games, and really even through this whole second arc, we're going to have to really make Cobalt Fox. His arc is going to have to go from like hardcore. His arc is almost opposite of Nathan's. So when we first meet, when the first of the two of them are together, Nathan is like disorder law, right? Or is like the law and order, kind of like the soulful saint character, and Cobalt Fox is the criminal. And then as they go, they have to reverse roles to the point where they're going to have to bond really well throughout that bottom arc, so that for Cobalt Fox, who's a hardened criminal who's killed probably hundreds or thousands of people, to save this guy's life and to make an atonement for his sins or something.
Well, see, and that's the point. That's the point I was trying to get to. It's a psychological thing. Let's say I'm Cobalt Fox, just spitballing. Let's say I've killed countless people, like more than I could count, and so I take a little bit from that person, including their psyche, and over time, they're amassing all those different psyches in my head is really maddening. So it's like I really have to focus on singling out all these other personalities and balance my power, but it's getting to be too much in my old age. It's like I'm like kind of slipping onto the side of madness. You see what I'm saying? So
like he's talking to himself and stuff because he's seeing things.
Kind of, sort of. It's like he's trying his best, and maybe he might be taking some drugs that he's getting from the psychiatrist that allows him to single out only his main personality and block out those other psychologies that he's amassed over a long period of just murder, nothing but murder. So if he gives his power, if he gives his power away, it grants him a sense of sanity, but it also kills him. You see what I'm saying?
Maybe all the psyches in his brain take over.
Yeah,
maybe his power is the only thing keeping him at bay.
Yeah, it's like they're vying over control. It's like all these psyches are amassed into one body, and they're constantly at war, trying to be the front man, basically, of that particular body.
You know what would be hilarious? Remember how I was saying the second book I imagine is a buddy book? What if Cobalt Fox transfers enough of his power to Nathan so that Nathan can defeat
I thought about this, yeah.
What if the Captain America persona, this irritating piece of shit, is now part of Nathan for the rest of his life? It's a part of his psyche. It's like literally. I'm not sure if anybody out there is reading the most recent Murphy verse book. It's Batman Beyond the White Knight. Well, in it, the Joker is dead. Batman killed the Joker, but the Joker's essence has been digitally implanted into Bruce Wayne's brain. So he's literally wandering around the story, having conversations with Jack Napier, the Joker, who's like, he's like monitoring things for him and giving him advice and picking on him and talking to him. What if when Nathan escapes from the prison, he finds out that this Captain America character is now a persona that's in his mind that he can't get rid of and is there constantly?
Yes.
Oh my God, the torture. But maybe that's the reason why Cobalt doesn't want to pass his powers on to anybody, is because he knows that they would have to live with every psyche that they kill. But in order for Nathan to survive, he has to do it.
what if this? What if? So the change that I had thought of this something similar to Andrew. The difference that I had though was that it wasn't his victims; it was past Cobalt Foxes. So you almost have like that Ghost Yoda thing going on, where Nathan could go into the future and actually have like old Cobalt Fox could be there, but you could
Okay.
also have the other. So it's the same thing. Like it's the
Here's-
same thing where he could where old Cobalt Fox could still be like wanting to atone because he has the history of all the Cobalt Foxes kind of like in his ear and like, yo, you know, you don't have much time left if you know.
we can still make that work, Todd. What if, in order to save Nathan, Cobalt Fox has to sacrifice himself, and maybe Nathan has to kill him?
Yes.
And
That's
that's how Cobalt Fox becomes part of his persona. He can still be there, but so is the Captain America character as well. Oh, freaking A, I'm liking this character even
in
more.
order to save Nathan, Cobalt Fox has to have Nathan kill him.
Somehow he has to be sacrificed. He has to willingly fall and be killed. But because it was at the hand of Nathan, because Nathan had a hand in it, he's got that psychic impression of Cobalt Fox, the original Cobalt Fox, with him. But he also has the Captain America character as well. The whole second book can be a glorious buddy comedy book or buddy story in which he's talking to these psyches and they're always with him. They're always advising him. There's always talking to him. One's trying to give him good advice and point him in the right direction. The other one's just a pain in the fucking ass and driving him crazy. But that's the curse of the Cobalt Fox.
Now the curse of the Cobalt Fox is so everyone he kills is basically with him.
Yes.
Yeah,
but
it's a gift and a curse.
There's another thing about Cobalt Fox. When we were going back to what he looks like, Cobalt Fox is the kind of character that could kill a man without using his powers. He's that dangerous of a character, but he's also killed a lot of people using his powers. So he's got a lot of this psychic residue with him at all times. And maybe finding religion is a way of keeping those forces at bay in his mind. And once he's finally given away his powers, all those forces are released on him. And maybe that's what ends up killing him. Is all those psyches that are like overcrowding his mind. They literally destroy him from the inside. Yeah. Maybe his powers is what is constant. Maybe his powers as well as his religion is what keeps him at bay. The meditation, the spiritual nature of it. I mean,
because he's getting older, his resistance is getting weaker.
Yeah, I think he knows that ultimately when his powers are done, he is going to be psychically crushed by the number of people that he's killed. Their psychic forces inside his mind is going to kill him. That's ultimately what's going to be his downfall. But maybe taking the last of his powers is what causes that to happen. And maybe that's the reason why his psyche is forever with Nathan. There's got to be a better word than psyche. You know what I mean? There's got to be a better, not spirit, not essence, something.
Well, his conscience.
Conscience, yeah.
Because see, my thing was the idea I had, just an added layer, is like throughout the years, Cobalt Fox, like every night he sleeps, he has a different nightmare from one of his victims, and it's like every night every night every night of his life, it's a different nightmare from one of his psyches.
Maybe prior to coming into jail and finding religion, that was his issue. But now that he's found religion in prison, he's able to keep him at bay even when he's asleep.
Oh, what if? Check this out. Because end point, right?
Okay, keep going.
Where he knows he doesn't have time left, right? He's at a point where it has trouble. It's like slipping realities. So it's not even just that he's talking to the previous Cobalt Foxes, the previous kills, or whatever it is. He's also kind of like slipping into their lives a little bit. Like, not that he's taking on their persona, but he's like, you know how an older person, if they go through a little bit of dementia, all of a sudden it's like they're reliving something that happened in their childhood.
Yep.
Or whatever. but so that's happening to Cobalt Fox, but it's not his life.
Right.
Right?
It's the others.
He's talking about his daughter, but he doesn't have one. You know what I'm saying? And so when Nathan gets into prison and they throw him into Cobalt Fox's cell, like basically the guards are laughing like, yo, you just got you just won the crazy, you just pulled the short straw, bro. Like this guy's nuts.
Oh, I just thought of another twist. Speaking of Cobalt Fox's daughter, the one that is currently managing his riches and his wares that Nathan's going to have to seek out, find. What if she was supposed to be the one to get Cobalt Fox's powers? What if she was the next in line? And by giving them to Nathan, it skipped her over, period. It skipped her completely.
Yeah, viable.
And maybe when they get together and their storyline happens, she secretly wants him to give her the Cobalt Fox power so that she can take over her rightful role, but he's unwilling to do it, knowing what comes with it, the psychic baggage that comes with it. Ooh, that could be a whole deep twist to the second story.
Well, not only that is she's been training to been training her body and her mind to handle the load of Fox's power, but with Nathan being a holder of it, he's like, really, you're not ready because I'm physically stronger or whatever, I'm mentally fortified, and it's a problem for me to hold it, and I would feel guilty by passing this on to you. I'm kind of selfish, but kind of borderline that.
I think this is hilarious in the fact, Romel, if you think about it, he's getting thrown into the prison of superheroes. He's a regular guy getting thrown into the deep end of the pool. When he gets Cobalt's powers and becomes the supervillain, he's literally being thrown into a whole nother deep end of the pool in the fact that he's now a bad guy. He's killed somebody. He's on the run. He's escaped from prison. He's a notorious bad guy. His life's been ruined. But now he's got these powers that he doesn't actually understand or can control. And he's being bombarded by, I think Cobalt Fox is still there to help him. But every time he has to kill somebody or every time somebody dies by his hand, and he doesn't always have to kill them. They just, something can happen and, he...
And here's another twist. How about the entire time?
Internet went out for a second. I got muted. I don't know if you guys heard everything I ranted or not.
Didn't.
No, we were ignoring you. Ramel, what's up?
Oh, I can't hear anything. Crap. Hold on a second, guys.
Oh my God, he's gonna be silent. Ramel, go.
Oh yeah. What I was going to say is, what if the entire time the psychiatrist is documenting everything? He has like an entire room dedicated to his sessions with Cobalt Fox.
Say that one more time.
The psychiatrist. Remember the chess master. Mm-hmm. Throughout the duration of the story, he's documenting all these different sessions from Cobalt Fox. Like he literally has like bins and bins and bins of information from Cobalt Fox, just from different lives and shit like that.
Oh, okay. So the psychiatrist, I think, is female, but yeah.
Well, her. Sorry.
No worries. That makes total sense. Bins of info from past Cobalt lives. So I think we did that's great development on our Cobalt Fox, our older Cobalt Fox, who we have. Where is it? So we still have to answer. The sort of that hero's mask question or that revelation of the plan. Right, the hero's mask is when Nate finally kind of like switches into like I'm gonna be fuck it. In order to survive and get the fuck out of here, I have to be a villain, and so I have to behave like a villain, and so I have to do something villainous. Right, again, in Iron Man, it's when he like shreds an entire village of bad guys, but we can kind of do something a little different. And then the revelation of the plan. Go ahead.
Maybe through sessions with the psychiatrist, Nathan comes to understand he identifies more with the villains than he does the heroes, and it kind of flips his world upside down.
Right, but I think this one is the hero's mask is when he's finally taking action. So what's that first villainous act?
Well, shit, the first villain is
Killing the Captain America.
No, it can't be. It can't be that. It has to. He has
Why
to
not?
work up to that, because that's the climax of the whole book.
No, in prison, it's going to be slow. It's going to be, you start, a little contraband.
That's what I'm saying. It's either contraband or he beats the shit out of a lackey or something, he just
he's going to have to do he's going to have to do all those things. Maybe smuggling some drugs, maybe beating the shit out of somebody, a little bit of extortion, theft. He's going to have to do those things.
He's got to rape another guy. That's good.
Okay, this isn't a Romel fantasy. This is
whatever, motherfucker.
What? Okay, so in terms of revelation, here's another one: revelation of the plan. Because we'll go back through this in a minute, or we'll do another pass before we do an outline. So, revelation of the plan. We have, basically right between the moment where the superhero dons his mask and the scene where he gets to beat up the bad guy. There's a bad guy. There's a short scene where the audience at least finally gets a lead on what the nemesis intends to do in the second half. And so we've been leading people, at least in our own discussions here, we're leading people to believe that in this book, the warden is the bad guy. We're certainly setting the stage for the psychiatrist to be the main bad guy, but the warden in this book is the bad guy. So what's the warden's plan? And we know it obviously has something to do with the fighting pit.
That's a good question. If we actually spent one session just talking about nothing but the warden, I'm pretty sure it'll write itself.
Yep.
Because just like we were able to discuss Cobalt Fox's power, it really kind of defined, it kind of wrote itself after. So I'm thinking once we sit down and we actually dedicate a session to the warden, just their character development, I believe it'll write itself, and we could tie the loose ends together.
I think you're right. Well, we got about 20 minutes. Do we want to open floor it, or do we want to work a little bit more stick with Cobalt Fox?
I had just a thought about the Cobalt Fox thing. What if during the battle with Captain America, that's the point in which he transfers the last of his powers to Nathan, and Nathan becomes the next Cobalt Fox? And what if there's like a light flash behind him, and his face, you see maybe Cobalt Fox, who's now a shriveling, falling, decrepit human, because he's given away all his powers, and all of the psychics are attacking him, and he's trying to keep them at bay. Maybe he's saying his Our Fathers or doing the Rosary or something in order to keep them from completely destroying his mind. But he's transferred the last of his powers to Nathan, and maybe when he comes out to see how the battle ends, there's like a flash of light behind him, and then you see the skull image on Nathan's face. The image of whatever it is, his future. It's literally his future in the deterioration of the body. He sees it, and he knows that he's now the new Cobalt Fox. And this is when all the shit hits the fan, everything starts happening. And I don't know. I just see that visually as a really cool thing. He's done it. He's transferred his powers. He's transferred everything to this man, and now he's stuck with it.
I love, by the way, the title, The Curse of the Cobalt Fox.
Yeah, that's
actually,
literally the second book. That's the second
it
book.
sounds
The
it
Curse
sounds
of the
it's
Cobalt
very
Fox.
it's very Hardy Boys, but it sounds awesome.
because my idea, well, sitting down too low. My idea is that like the Cobalt Fox is really the power is identifiable, say through like a mark or a stigma, a very intricate stigma, and once it transfers, so does the stigma. So, just in my mind, how he transfers the power to temporarily to Nathan is that he draws blood directly from the stigma, whatever, and he draws it almost like a pentagram or something on him that allows him to kind of channel his power. But in order for him to survive, he has to fully give him his power because it's only temporary.
Right, for sure. KG loves the Hardy Boy reference.
Oh,
We're all-
so we
we're
don't
show-
know what Cobalt Fox looks like.
Which one?
Either one, because they're both going to have that face.
Maybe the face is like Bilbo Baggins in Lord of the Rings, that when somebody's trying to take the ring from him, he goes, "No, it's mine," and you see his face just gets all evil looking. Maybe when Nathan or Cobalt Fox reacts that way, you see the skull image on their face. Their face distorts and becomes that stigmata effect. Don't everybody agree or disagree at once?
I almost see the Cobalt Fox, or the older Cobalt Fox as, like I said, like the Bruce Wayne and Frank Miller's Dark Knight, but kind of like crossed with Tombstone. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I see him
Yeah,
more like
Tombstone, the Spider-Man villain.
Yeah,
I see him more like Red Skull in that one that issue 350 where he's all like really buff and super strong.
yeah, for
and then
sure.
Captain America finds him and he's like this decrepit, crippled skeleton of a guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he's left after he's transferred his powers. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he's just a shell of his former self, and his mind is being barraged, barraged by the psyches of the people he's killed.
Mm-hmm. These are cool characters, man.
Maybe he's wishing for death at this moment because
no
amount of prayer is going to keep him at bay once his powers are gone. You know.
Well, does transferring his powers kill him? I mean, I would assume it would kill him.
I don't think it'll kill him, but I think the psyches attacking him is going to be what eventually kills him.
Well, no,
Maybe-
the thing is, like with him being so old, him with all his victims, what he takes from them on top of their psyche is just a portion of their life force. So that extends his own life. So once that's gone, he loses that extension. You see?
Yeah, maybe he's like 120 years old, but he still looks young and fit, or like an older guy but fit. And once he relieves all of his powers, all those years come crashing back on him.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Man, that's cool.
well,
I have this image.
I have this
image. This last page image after the book is done. Like if this is a comic or graphic novel, like this last page image. That's all it is the older Cobalt Fox, and I am seeing it almost like as a Frank Miller Dark Knight drawing of, like, you know how he used to draw Superman. Like,
Yeah.
I imagine like this full page pinup where it's like our Cobalt Fox, but he's like younger and he's kind of pale, but he's smiling like the older Cobalt Fox, big guy, wearing some nice tailored clothes or something, sitting in a field with like nice trees and a butterfly, and like the sun's out and it's kind of hitting him on his face. And you realize that it's just like his ghost image self, right? Like everything happens. He's clearly dying or he's dead. Nathan becomes Cobalt. Nathan escapes. Book is over, and then there's like one last page or like a pinup or something, or an alt cover or a variant or something, where it's just like a younger Cobalt, what looks like a younger Cobalt Fox, just sitting on a hill with like flowers and beautiful sun in the park. But you realize that it's like, but it's drawn in a way that's kind of light and pale, so it looks like a ghost image of like sort of like
Wait,
the
I
afterlife.
thought Cobalt Fox survives the prison break to escape with Nathan.
Yeah, you missed that part.
Apparently I did.
Andrew, you want to catch him up?
What? I thought Dusty was taking notes. Dusty?
I am thoroughly confused after tonight.
Romel,
You're thoroughly confused?
The original
Yes.
plan, one of the original plans, Romel, was
So
that
might
the
Dusty.
second book would be like a buddy movie where it's Cobalt Fox and Nathan on the run from the law, the two of them together. But if Cobalt Fox sacrifices himself in the prison break in order for Nathan to get away, to escape, that would be a good, ending for him. But you find out later that his psyche is part of Nathan now, and will always be. So he's like Todd was mentioning, Obi-Wan Kenobi dying in the first Star Wars, but he's still around as a Force ghost later to help Luke. Well, this is our way of keeping Cobalt Fox in the story.
Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, but
Maybe that happens because Nathan is not really fully let go of Cobalt Fox. That's the reason why that psyche is still there with him.
well, no, I think the negative of having Cobalt Fox's powers is that whenever you kill somebody or you use your powers in killing somebody, their psychic impression is with you forever at that point.
Yeah, you get a fraction of their strength.
Well, the only way that you can be relieved of the psychic influence of the person you killed is if they willingly give up. And I don't think the Captain America character or any of the characters that were killed by Cobalt Fox are willing to. Ooh, what if Nathan's dad is one of the psyches that Cobalt Fox has been carrying around with him?
Oh, that's kind of
What
cool.
if that's a way for him to be in for the dad to give Nathan information at some point in the story, is that Cobalt Fox reveals it directly from him. Maybe one of the things that Nathan's dad found out while he was undercover in the prison is that he was literally being set up, that he wasn't working for the Angels trying to root out the bad guys. He was literally working for the bad guys. And maybe that's one of the reasons why he ends up being killed. And maybe that knowledge is given to Nathan through Cobalt at some point, that maybe that's the final breaking point, or one of the final breaking points, that Nathan realizes he's not going to go back to his old life. He's not going to complete whatever mission he's there for and going back to a regular life. It is gone. It has been destroyed. He will never have it again.
So here's my question, and this I want to bring in. Dusty and Avery, at least, if not Zach, Dusty and Avery, which is like what do you find confusing? At least I know Dusty said he was confused, and Avery said he was confused.
Well, we were following the beat sheet for a bit, and then
it's all a clusterfuck.
Yeah, we started going in a lot of directions with a lot of ideas and smashing them together, and
yeah. So I think what happened, and this is fine, but basically we hit the revelation of the plan, the Warden's plan, and the hero's mask, and realized that in order to get through this other side, we have to know, like, we have to know a little bit more about some of the characters, right? Like we have a good understanding of Nathan, but we don't have a deep understanding of the older Cobalt Fox, right? Like basically what happens is like if Cobalt's going to help Nate through these battles, there has to be a reason why, because like the guy's in prison. Why would he give a shit? You know what I mean? Like, screw this idiot Nathan guy coming in. Like, fuck him. Like, why help? So there has to be like a reason. So that kind of cracked the door open on like trying to develop the Cobalt Fox character, the older Cobalt Fox character. And then to Ramel's point, and then really quick, and then to Ramel's point, to continue on with the revelation of the plan. Well, the revelation of the plan is the bad guy saying, here, it's a hint of what the bad guy of the story has in store for the rest of the book, for the rest of the film, for the rest of the story. But to Ramel's point, like, we don't actually know. So in this story, the warden is the bad guy, but we haven't defined who the warden is. So we don't actually know what that plan is until we do kind of this deep dive, character dive in another session inside of the warden, so that we can kind of understand how that goes. And same thing with the psychiatrist. Like, I think you've got our main characters. We still have some characters we have to figure out. Like, we have Nate is pretty developed. Cobalt Fox is, as of tonight, pretty developed. I think we have a good handle on who that character is. We need to do the warden, and we need to do the psychiatrist, and maybe another gang leader, someone else in the prison that kind of balances all that out. And I think between those 5 or 6 characters, you'll have that whole, all of these holes will get filled. Does that kind of make sense?
Can I make a suggestion then, therefore?
Yeah.
So maybe what we should do on next week in the next session is, instead of working on the plot, we work on the setting. You know, so like, for example, when you're writing a fantasy novel, and if you know, the setting is as much a character as the actual characters. Now, if you're just using like basic stock setting, evil dark lord, Elvis Wars, etc., yada yada yada, the setting comes pretty easy, because by this point most of those elements are just, they're known by it, they're tropes, everybody knows them. But if you do something a little more original, then you have to develop the setting before you can shape the plot, because the setting is going to affect the plot as much as anything else, because the setting is the character essentially. So maybe what we should do is, even though we're getting close to the end, is that we should maybe take some time and not just figure out the the remaining characters, who they are, but figure out the setting as well. I mean, what is the world they're in? In this case, the prison, and then the parameters of the story. What are the rules? What are the limits? What can you do? What can't you do? And so, we starting the asset. Then you work your way and look at the characters. Who are the characters we don't have? Like, who is the warden? Who is the who is the gang leader, and so on and so forth. One thing I like to try is write up a short biography of each character. There was a writer called David Eddings. He was a big big fantasy writer in the 80s and 90s. When he before he wrote any story, he would actually essentially write out a Bible of the world in which he was writing, and not just the characters, but the histories of the lands they're from, their personal histories, and so on. And he said 95% of it he would never use, but mentally it gave him an idea of who the character was, and it worked because his books were bestsellers. So maybe that's what maybe we should spend some time doing that. Instead of trying to hit all the beats, take a pause and figure out who these people are, and why they do what they do, and what is this world in which they're in. And
I'm totally cool with that. I mean, I think I'm 100. I support that 100%. I think one of the things that's been fun, there's one of the things that's interesting about this process is that there's no we have to, I mean, obviously you have to get it all done. You have to know the setting, and you have to know the characters, and you have to know the beats, but they all kind of feed into each other, right? I don't think we would have come up with this cool backstory for the older Cobalt Fox if we hadn't kind of figured out some of these beats. So it's kind of cool. I support that 100%. There's no problem in saying, okay, cool, we've got to a point where we have some holes and we're having a little bit of trouble filling the shots. We're having a little trouble filling in the holes of the plot. but that's because now it's like, okay, cool. We need to know more about the setting. We need to know about the rules. Like to Zach's point, we need to know who all these characters are and know exactly where these characters are going to be coming from. So I'm totally cool with that. That'd be a lot of fun to do next week for sure.
You know, it's one of the other things we can do is when we're doing this, when we're writing up the stories or the ideas for each of the characters, do it from the point of view of the psychiatrist.
Yep.
Make it be like her analysis, her introduction to each of them. And wouldn't it be really cool if she had her own personal private grading system for each character, and she builds it into her analysis of them? And you like, maybe it's like level Phoenix, you know, level Toad, level Tree, you know, maybe she's got her own private code for whether or not each of these people is viable for whatever expansion plan she has for her criminal network. And we can build into it, you know?
Bio from. So now we're diving into her, but you just gave me an idea.
Okay. Okay. See, that's
hold
how
on.
this is supposed to work, Todd. Zach comes up with a great idea. I throw some vinegar on it. Romel sprinkles in some sauerkraut, and all of a sudden you got, I don't know, what the hell you get when you sprinkle in vinegar and sauerkraut?
Why sauerkraut?
I don't know. I'm sure Avery could take those two things and make something delicious out of it. So,
excuse me. Wait, I'm sorry. What about this? So, to Andrew's point, what if we did that, and we'll go through the characters. So that's great. We can have a reason for her to have all the stuff. But what if her grading system is actually what becomes the grading system on the back of the cards? Because we already have a grading system. We've got power, luck, you know, all that kind of good stuff, defense, speed.
ooh.
We've got the bars. We've got the power bars on the back of the card. And so we could actually introduce that as a core component of a story, right?
Yeah,
so that it's
definitely.
like even though it's like in the story, it almost makes like it almost be like imagine if there had been a classic Marvel story that had that, and then all of a sudden they released the Marvel handbook.
Right.
And you're realizing that handbook is actually from the perspective of some supervillain or something that has all this information on all of the characters, right? Like,
what if she actually has cards created for tracking each of these? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
maybe not maybe exactly like what the card set is, but similar in like it's got a picture on the front, and on the back it has got a small bio with the chart.
Yep.
A 1970s version of your cards, literally. Because if your cards were inspired by 90s cards, these would be, oh hell yeah, black and white pictures on the front, like mugshot pictures on the front.
Yeah, and it could almost be
back.
like a simplified dossier or something, you know?
Yeah.
Like just brilliance.
Yeah, well, we bring it out in you.
So Dusty, Avery, Zach, does that sound okay?
Guys, just agree with us. It's almost over. Don't worry.
No, that's awesome.
Sure.
MK says excellent tie-in. Right? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because then it's like it gives obviously the back of the card serves a storytelling purpose. That's why we created it. But to actually tie in the actual image itself, the actual structure of it into a story as well. Like these are like you're almost setting up the fact that there's somebody else, because this is like from the 1970s, so this was like 50 years ago. So you're almost setting up that someone else is still keeping track of all of these characters, all of these people, and so that sets up like maybe a bigger villain or something.
Oh yeah. You have our permission. When you go to tell Melissa this idea, you can tell her it was all your idea. Okay.
And then she'll say, this was Avery, wasn't it? Awesome. Well, so that was great, man. This was so. Look at that. It's 10:30. We hit it. We're good. Is there anything else? Should we chill out? You guys want to hang? We should probably wrap up. No one else. We usually hang out into the. Who's got feedback? Andrew, is that you?
Is it?
Let me turn you off. It was Andrew. Andrew's got crazy feedback on his headphones.
Son of a bitch.
What are you doing?
Well, here, Ludo, we'll wrap this up real quick, and then group here will hang out in the green room for a minute. Everybody, MK, KG, Rageous, Willie D, all you guys, Carrots, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We super appreciate it, man. The story's getting good. The characters are awesome, man. Stuff is grinding. It's coming out. It's looking good. What do you guys think? Let me know. All you guys, keep the conversation going in general and Discord. Let me know what you guys think. Definitely wanna know more. MK says, thanks again, guys. Easily one of my favorite nights to learn. Awesome. MK, we love having you here, brother. You know that. Absolutely. With that said, we will see you in Discord. Stay tuned for more. Lots of stuff coming up. You know, we just keep going. The train doesn't stop. We'll continue in Discord. And yeah, guys, with that, I will see you guys tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. We are doing the comic show. So we're going to do the comic. I don't know. Will either talk about comics. We might go into movies and film and TV. It's really just it's a nerd hangout. Maybe we'll get Ramel to show up. But you know, Ramel probably is the only one of us that has a social life.
Yeah, it probably won't be tomorrow night because Call of Duty comes out at midnight. So
fair. All right. Call of Duty. KG says story is rounding out nicely. Have a good night, boys. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, guys. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow night.